Hello, my name is Tony Mortimer. For my details, Google my blog, Buddhist Non-Duality, Melbourne, Middle Way, Nagarjuna. Today's talk is a chapter from a book that I've compiled. The book is called A Whole New Way of Perceiving the World, and that is in my blog. Today's chapter is It's All in the Mind. So let's just get straight into it. The purpose of this chapter is to come to an understanding that the objects and things we experience as real, solid, independent entities out there are really only mental imputations, constructions of our mind. It is important to know this because our ignorance of this fact, the fact of the insubstantiality of things, Buddhist thought tells us, is the root cause of all our suffering. Let us demonstrate that the objects and things we perceive to be real, solid entities out there are really only what we have mentally constructed out there. Although things appear to be separate, inherent entities set up out there on their own, they could not exist independent of our mind, our cognitive and sensory faculties. Apart from our mind, we would have no knowledge of things, no knowledge of the world. Nothing can exist independent of our minds. Everything we experience and know is mediated through our minds. This is an important discovery because our search is narrowed down to the key ingredient, the mind. Hence the expression, it's all in the mind. We may think that the mind is in the body. We say, my mind, pointing at the head. Actually, it's the other way round. The mind is not in the body, but the body is in the mind. Even when we are in a body, our body, we are not really there if we do not have a mental conception of body. We can only truly know our body through our mind. If the matter is well examined, it will be found that all appearances manifest within the mind. They cannot appear elsewhere. What do we know about our body? We can see it, we can hear it, we can smell it, we can touch it. But where does seeing occur? In the mind. Where does hearing occur? In the mind. Where does smelling occur? In the mind. Where does tasting occur? In the mind. Where do we feel touch? In the mind. What we see, hear, feel, and so on is mediated through our mind. Without mind, nothing could exist. We couldn't smell or touch. We wouldn't know anything about it if we never had a mind. When we think or know of the body, we do so through the agency of our minds. We have never known anything about our body except through our mind. So our entire life, from the very first day, everything we have ever known about our body and the world has happened in our mind. If there was no mind, we wouldn't know anything about the world or our body. Take the mind away, We wouldn't know anything about the world or our mind. The entire world we see is actually inside of us. It is perceived through our senses and cognitive apparatus, and hence is a construction of our mind. Everything in existence is actually just our understanding of it. Things only exist in our mind because that's the only place they can exist. Our ideas of right and wrong, separation and togetherness, love and hate, everything is in our mind. We may believe people out there are out there. But out there is only out there because we see it as such. What this means is that the objects and things that we perceive to be solid objects out there are really only what we have projected or constructed out there by mind. The only way we can experience objects out there is to mentally construct them out there. Objects are aspects of subjects. All thoughts and experiences such as, I am happy, I am sad, these are my friends, these are my enemies, I was born, I will die, this is God, are merely constructions of our mind. There are no real entities called friends, birth, death, happy, God, and so on. We literally make it up, conjure it through thought. We don't discover real entities out there. We only discover what we have made up. Things appear to us as being full of our imputations. So the world we perceive as a physical reality is actually our mental construction of it. In other words, the appearing phenomena are merely constructions of our mind, just like dream images are a construction of mind. See, there is no real substance to dream images, and those dream images exist only in our minds. They are not intrinsic real entities. What we make is a fake. It has no solid intrinsic nature of its own, somewhat like a mirage or a magic illusion. So all talk of substance, matter, form, permanence, inherent existence, essence, or fixed entities must be abandoned. A radical conclusion indeed. Suppose for a moment we leave aside any consideration of things from the side of the mind. When we ask, how do these things exist from their own side? What are they like in and of themselves apart from our mind, apart from any mental, sensory or cognitive conception of them? When we ask about how things are in and of themselves from their own side, we never find a shred of a thing in itself. Our only knowledge of anything is what is mediated through our mind. There are no mind-independent objects, thoughts or feelings in existence. Thoughts like, what are dogs thinking? What happens after death? What are aliens or extraterrestrials really like? Are examples of us trying to understand things in and of themselves apart from the mind of the person viewing them. Hence, such thoughts or questions are futile and unanswerable. There is nothing that is purely objective nothing out there completely apart from mind that we can pin down and point out. We can only know of things from the side of our mind. Things are but mental constructions of our mind. For example, a self is merely imputed from the side of the mind on the aggregates. This may help explain why we can't find something substantial, Similarly, a table is merely imputed from the side of the mind of the aggregates. This may help explain why we can't find something substantial, something with a core nature or essence called table or tableness, something that constitutes that table, and the essence of it just can't be found. The table has no solid inherent nature of its own that can be identified, but exists only by mental imputation. In fact, all things of this world are but mental creations. External phenomena are transient and only exist for us because of our perceptions mind. Consequently, they do not exist outside our mind. Table is simply a name attributed to the conglomerations of conditions coming together that constitute the aggregates of a table. If one looks for, say, table, there is nothing there other than its parts and external conditions operating in conjunction. There is no separate table or tableness apart from the aggregates. It can't be found. Table is simply a name, a concept, which the mind imputes on the aggregates. There is no mind-independent table, so the table and other things have merely mind or conceptual existence. They can't have any existence of their own. We give them the existence mentally. There is no mind-independent table, so the table and other things have merely mind or conceptual existence. Consider the Zen koan. If a tree falls in a forest and there is no one there that hears it fall, does it make a sound? This question, of course, makes no sense apart from mind and sense faculties. So it is a false question and hence unanswerable. It's a good example there that if we think we can know anything apart from our mind, we're deluded. People, cars, tables and things do exist, but they do not at all exist on their own, independent of our mind or senses. However, they do not present their lack of independent existence to our senses. Instead, they look substantial and compelling. They look as though they were established on their own out there. Appearances are delusory. The delusion, that is the root cause of suffering, involves seeing things as having just this sort of objective and autonomous existence. This delusion sees things as being set up from their own side, as having their own natural way to be there, to be independent and autonomous. Yet everything that exists depends on being imputed by our mind. So it is not set up from its own side, but from the side of the mind. And the last paragraph. It is our misconception of things as being inherent independent entities apart from our minds that causes us great suffering. Because these various projections of our minds appear before us as self-existing objects, we become attached to the reality of our own projections. This causes attraction and aversion to those projections, which is cyclic existence or primal confusion. Fortunately, we can change our minds. We don't need to change the world. We need only change our mind about the world. That is, by recognizing things are mental imputations, mirage-like, not real entities. When the perceptual process is transformed, we recognize that the appearing phenomena are not the substantial entities that they appear to be, but are mere mental imputations of our mind. When this occurs, grasping at things ceases, ignorance ceases, and hence suffering ceases. What had previously appeared as samsara now appears as nirvana.